StrayAllDay.com.
Turn the volume up. You are now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there even when the success you've expected to achieve is yet to be achieved. Where is it? And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative, which is the go-getter energy that moves anyone out there, including you, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. We put all this together in one bundle, one package, one mindset, one method, one philosophy, one book, one show. It is this masterclass you're listening to right now that is called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day. Welcome to the show. Congratulate yourself on a great decision of being here. And today's topic is the art of drawing attention. I thought of this topic, the art of drawing attention, after watching the Michael Jordan docu-series, the 10-part docu-series that came out via ESPN and Netflix if you're outside the United States in spring of 2020. If you're listening to this show, you probably are aware of the doc, even if you didn't see it, and how, even though I believe that documentary was very well done, it was well put together, we know that Michael Jordan had final say over everything that came out. I felt like the documentary left a lot to be desired for someone like myself, who kind of is I guess you can call me a Jordan junkie. I've seen all the Jordan tapes from back in the day. Those of y'all who don't know what a Jordan tape is, this is this device called a VHS tape that you used to have to get back in the day, back in the 90s and early 2000s if you want to watch footage. There was no YouTube, there was no internet, there were no smartphones. Well, there was internet, but it wasn't ubiquitous. There wasn't a smartphone you could pull up footage on. You had to actually go to the store or in the mail and actually purchase a physical object that then you would insert into another physical object called a VCR. And that's how you could watch tapes. So I used to have the Jordan tapes back in the 90s. I saw all those tapes multiple times. There are probably 5 or 6 books that have been written about Michael Jordan, and I've read every one of them more than once. And there are a few books that Michael Jordan actually wrote himself. I read those also more than once. And those books don't go into so much depth, the ones that Jordan wrote himself, but the ones written about him go into great depth. And being that I read all those books, when I watched the docu-series, I was like, man, I thought it was going to be a little bit more. I just wanted to hear Michael Jordan talk. I didn't really care about them recapping the 80s and then all the other championships before they got to the last year. I just wanted to see some behind-the-scenes stuff from the Bulls and just hear Michael Jordan give his opinions on whatever he wanted to give his opinions on. Because those are the things that weren't already out there. 95% of the stuff that was in that docu-series has already been out. It's just that it was new to the majority of the audience, which I get because it's been 20 years since Michael Jordan was really at the front of the cultural zeitgeist. So I get it that they had to do what they had to do. But it was much better than, even though I have that to say about the Michael Jordan documentary, that's my critique of the documentary, that it just didn't have a little bit more meat when it came to just specifically Michael Jordan stuff. I didn't care about Phil Jackson or Scottie Pippen or Dennis Rodman or any of the other characters in the show or Isaiah Thomas or who else was in there. I don't even remember. Don't even matter. I just wanted to hear Michael Jordan and hear from Michael Jordan. But even though I have that critique, I believe that docuseries that was, again, all co-signed by Jordan, he was not going to let anything come out that he didn't want to come out. It was much better than some athlete documentaries that I've seen over the years of names of people that I'm not going to mention. People they make documentaries about themselves, and the material is super shallow and for the most part useless, uninformative, doesn't tell you anything new. It's basically a long 60-minute or 90-minute commercial that an athlete makes about themselves. And again, I'm not going to say any names as to who this applies to, but if you've seen any of the documentaries, then you probably know who I'm talking about. You name somebody, they probably are guilty of this. All of that being said, today's topic is about drawing attention, because those athletes make those documentaries about themselves because on some level, that may not be the main motivator, who knows, but on some level, they want to draw some attention to themselves and their accomplishments and who they are. And listen, Michael Jordan is not innocent of this. I'm sure he wanted to draw some attention to himself as well. I don't think that was the main reason why he did it, because if he wanted to do that, I mean, he could put out a documentary every year and people will watch it because Michael Jordan is still Michael Jordan. So I think it was part of it, but I don't think that was the main thing. But today's topic, either way, is about how you can draw attention to yourself, which all of us on some level want. We all on some level want to be recognized and seen and heard and known for whatever it is that we do, at least the positive stuff. How can you draw attention the right way and the artful way? Point number one. Again, the topic here today is the art of drawing attention. Number one, there's a difference between drawing attention to yourself and trying to draw attention to yourself. Those are two different things. Drawing attention to yourself, that's the first one, without the try. Drawing attention to yourself is an art. Okay, and that's art. A-R-T in all capital letters. A-R-T. And what is art? Art is subtle. It's natural. It's something that you do, but nobody notices that you're actually doing it until well after it's done. In other words, if you're an artist and you're creating something, yeah, people know that you're creating something, but it doesn't feel like you're trying too hard. It doesn't feel like you're forcing it. It doesn't feel like you are, when it comes to art of drawing attention, even though you are drawing attention to yourself, it's not like you're trying to force people to pay attention to you. You're not trying to force yourself to be the center of everyone's focus. You're not trying to force the spotlight to be on you and stay on you at all times, even though it may be on you, even though everyone may be focused on you, even though everyone's looking your way. It doesn't feel like you're trying to make that happen, even though that may be exactly what you're doing. But when you understand the art of something, you can make it seem like it's natural. You can make it seem like it's just happening organically on its own. It is very subtle what you're actually doing to get that thing to happen, whatever that art happens to be. Whether it's a singer who seems to sing effortlessly, or a runner who, when they run, it just looks so easy. Doesn't even look like they're working hard, but they're running faster than everybody else. Or the model or the actress who, when they're on the stage, everybody is looking at them. It doesn't seem like they're doing anything to force that attention, but they are. But it's just you don't notice it because they understand the art of the game. See, when you understand the art of the game, you're able to do it in such a way that even when you're working hard and you're trying hard and there's a whole lot of preparation and effort and foresight that went into what you do, it doesn't seem like it. And even if you went and told the audience, hey, there was a whole lot of work and preparation and foresight that went into what I did, nobody can point it out. No one can notice. Nobody can actually see, oh, that's why that person was so good. Oh, this is what that person did. That is the art of doing anything in life. And we're talking today specifically about drawing attention. Michael Jordan is a great example. For years, he was known as this great, of course, basketball player who won 6 championships and didn't lose in the finals and never played in the Game 7, and all the great things you can say about Michael Jordan. He has lists and lists of accomplishments. I think anyone who's listening to this probably knows a good amount of those accomplishments. I talked about that in my Virtual Mentors episode, volume 5, which was on, guess who? Michael Jordan. That was masterclass number 1217, Virtual Mentors volume 5, Michael Jordan. But the thing is, a lot of people didn't know, and a lot of people have come to realize through spring of 2020 that the reason Michael Jordan was so good in basketball is not because he was just so innately talented. It's not because, well, he was talented. It's not because he was just this basketball artist, even though he was. It's not because he just had some abilities that a lot of other people didn't have, even though he did. It was also driven by the fact that this guy was just a maniacal competitor. He was just very competitive, and he wanted to win at everything. Basketball happened to be his chosen profession, and that's how he got so. That was one of the things that drove him to do everything else that made his basketball performance look easy, but it was driven by this competitiveness that he had within him, this burning inferno that he just wanted to win at everything that he did. And a lot of people didn't notice that until he put out a 10-part docuseries on ESPN where he basically told you. He didn't basically tell you, he told you. The reason why I competed and played the way that I played is because I was always in competition. I was always trying to beat somebody. I would make up competitions in my mind of things that didn't even happen, but I would make myself believe that they happened just to get myself driven to compete even harder all the time. So Michael Jordan mastered the art of making his basketball accomplishments look effortless. And for years, many people thought they were effortless, or at least on an unconscious level, we thought they were effortless. Of course, we know he practiced and he worked hard, and you got to actually run up and down the court. But the thing is, nobody, or not nobody, but a lot of people did not understand that there was a whole lot of work and a whole lot of effort, and a lot of it sounded mental, hint, hint, the way Michael Jordan was explaining it, that a lot of it was just his mental game. The way that he approached things mentally drove him to do what he needed to do physically, i.e. the training and the workouts and the practice, which allowed him to do what he did when everybody was watching, also known as the performance, which we saw in the games and when he had the uniform on and when he won the championships. So you see how all of this works. The way that you think mentally leads to what you do to prepare, which leads to how you perform. It sounds like somebody's philosophy that may have a show that comes out every single day. All that being said, understand this. The art of drawing attention doesn't mean, as I just explained with Michael Jordan, doesn't mean you just let it happen and it's just going to happen naturally and organically without you even trying. It means that you can draw attention to yourself and be trying really hard to do it, but nobody noticed that you're trying really hard. That's when it's art. It's the same thing that any of you who has ever bought something, and we've all made purchases, right? A well-designed sales pitch when you're the subject of that pitch, meaning you're the one who is being pitched, you don't feel like you're being sold, but you still buy things. You ever done that? You ever gone somewhere and you intended to spend $10, but you end up spending $250 and you don't even feel bad about it? Why? Because there was a well-designed sales pitch somewhere in there. Either it was a person pitching you, or maybe it was a website, or maybe just the way things were laid out, or maybe it was something that just caught your attention or caught your eye, or you just got the bug and you just started spending money, even though you didn't intend to spend as much as you ended up spending. That's what a well-designed sales pitch does. It gets you to spend more than you wanted to spend, and you realize that you're spending more than you wanted to spend while you're doing it. You realize it after you did it, but you still don't have buyer's remorse. You still don't feel bad about it because that pitch was so well-designed, it doesn't feel like they were selling you, even though they damn well were selling you. You feel like you just made a decision to buy. See, trying to draw attention, on the other hand, this is the other side of it. The art of attention, what I've been talking about. Trying to draw attention, that's a science. Now, in many ways in life, science is a good thing. In many ways in life, having data and a strategy and a plan and doing things methodically is a good thing. But when it comes to drawing attention, you don't want yours to look like a science. Now, what is science? Science is methodical, obvious, and sometimes can be clumsy, because sometimes in science you have to try different things out. You got to test your hypotheses to see what's right and what's wrong. So science can get clumsy sometimes. It can be a little bit cumbersome sometimes. It can be a little bit obvious. It can be very obvious many times. I mean, that's the whole point of science, is you want to show your work. You want to show your data. So if you're a scientist or a mathematician and you come out with some conclusion and say, I conclude that this is absolutely fact, other scientists and other mathematicians and critical thinkers are going to look at you and say, okay, prove it. Show your work that proves what you're saying is actually true. And when you're trying to draw attention, you are doing it scientifically. It's methodical, it's obvious, people can see what you're doing, and that will turn some people off. So the very attention that you're trying to get is exactly what you miss out on. Some people are able to draw attention to themselves just by being who they are. Again, Michael Jordan, for example, he drew attention to himself just by being Michael Jordan. Again, not to say that he didn't think about it, or he didn't try, or he didn't put any effort into it behind the scenes. I'm sure that he did, even though he never came out and said it. I'm sure he did. Even when it's calculated, some people are able to draw attention just by being who they are, even though being who they are, quote unquote, is a calculation, but you can't tell. Other people, they want attention just as bad as the people who do it naturally, but others aren't as natural at it. So they have to try to draw attention, and that's when it becomes awkward. Any of you ever been around somebody who you could tell they were just trying to draw attention to themselves? They were trying to get seen, they were trying to get heard, they were trying to get known, but they didn't understand the art of it. They didn't understand the subtlety of it. They didn't understand how to be, what's the word that I'm looking for here? They didn't understand how to be discreet about how they went about drawing attention, and then it looked a little bit too clumsy, it looked a little bit too obvious, and then the whole effect was lost. Maybe you have seen that before. I'm sure you have. Point number 2. Today's topic is the art of drawing attention. The best way to draw attention, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you how it's done, because everything that I just said in the first point, it makes sense. I'm sure you understand it, but you're like, all right, what can I concretely do to actually start drawing attention to myself? And then you're like, oh, well, you just said don't try to draw attention. So how do I actually do this, Dre? I'm telling you here in point number 2, the best way to draw attention is 2 words. Write these down and start using them right now. You can start using these right now today. Here it is. Produce results. The best way to draw attention to yourself, your work, your business, your brand, your whatever it is that you got, is to produce results. Attention will have no choice but to find a person or place or thing or idea or system that is producing results. And when you're producing results, here's another thing that you won't even have to worry about. You won't have to worry about investing time in announcing the fact that you're creating results, because when they're actually happening, you don't have to say much. You can still talk, but you don't have to if you don't want to, because the results will speak for you. LeBron James put out he was the face of a campaign that Nike did. Nike actually put this out, but LeBron James is the face of this campaign that Nike put out, and I think they're still doing it. It's called More Than an Athlete. I know I've seen the t-shirt. I saw the t-shirts in some Nike stores. I've seen some players wearing this stuff. I've heard LeBron use the phrase and talk about it. And now, listen, I know a lot of athletes. I am, in case you didn't know, which I think you do if you're listening to this, I am a former professional athlete, and I know a ton of athletes. And the fact is, I'm going to keep it real with you. The majority of athletes that I know, all right, most of them are not anything more than fucking athletes. That's pretty much all they are. So it was funny when LeBron put out that more than an athlete, I understood what he was trying to say, keywords, trying to say, that there are athletes out there who can do more than just play sports. Because I know a lot of athletes who can't do anything more but play sports. That's all they can do. All right, that's what they do. They play sports. All right, there are some school teachers that ain't more than school teachers. All right, there are some podcasters who ain't more than podcasters. There are some people who work for the waste management, garbage disposal, trash men. They ain't nothing more than trash men. There are some maintenance people and janitors who ain't nothing more than janitors. There are some managers at businesses who are nothing more than a manager. They're not more than a manager. They just are a manager. That's pretty much all they are. And there are some athletes who ain't more than an athlete. That's all they are athletes. Now, all that being said, I'm bringing this up for a reason. A lot of athletes need to. This whole thing came as a response, or at least the timing of it, the way that I saw it was when this white woman on Fox said that, I believe she was talking about Kevin Durant. And she said Kevin Durant had said something, I don't remember, something that was politically charged, I guess. I don't even remember exactly what he said. But this woman took that clip of what Kevin Durant said, and she said, well, see, this is what happens when you don't graduate from college, because Kevin Durant only went to college for 1 year, and LeBron famously skipped college and went straight to the NBA. Both of them great players. And she said, this guy, this basketball player, and all the other basketball players out there who are agreeing with him, they need to just shut up and dribble. That's what the woman said. And then, of course, many athletes responded to this and said, no, we're not going to shut up and dribble because we could do more than just play sports. When you say shut up and dribble, you're basically implying, and this is what the athletes were saying, that this white woman was implying that all we can do is play basketball and we should shut up and not have our say or do anything else in life. We could do a whole lot of other things. We're more than athletes, and that's where the whole more than the athlete campaign came out. I never liked this campaign. And I'm qualified to say that I don't like this campaign. First of all, because I'm an athlete. That's who it was made for. People who are actually athletes, letting the world know that they're more than athletes. Second of all, because I am, in fact, more than an athlete. I think I've proven that over the years. But the fact is, I never liked this campaign because I don't need to put that on a fucking t-shirt, because all you got to do is look at my work. All you got to do is Google me. You can see that I'm more than an athlete. I don't have to tell you that I'm more than an athlete, because if you're doing the thing, this is all part of point number 2. What's point number 2? Produce results. You want to draw attention to something that you are, or some attribute of yours, or something that you're about. You do not have to put it on a t-shirt. You don't have to try to make people pay attention to it. You don't have to announce it to the world on Instagram. All you got to do is be it. All you have to do is represent it, and it's going to be obvious. Would I ever need to tell you who is listening to this show right now that I do more than play sports? All right, the majority of people who listen to this show never saw me dribble a basketball. But do I need to announce that to you? No. Do I need to tell you that? No. Do I need to wear the t-shirt and use the hashtag in my post? No, I don't need to do any of that. There are a lot of athletes who need to just shut up and dribble. Like the woman said, there are a lot of basketball players who should just shut up and dribble. They should not be talking because they ain't got nothing to say. They shouldn't be doing anything other than playing sports. Playing sports is a good job. What's wrong with being an athlete? Why you got to be more than that? Be an athlete. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a great job. You know how many potential athletes want to just be athletes, but they can't because they can't get themselves on the court or on the field or in the pool or on the track. Just be an athlete. Many athletes need to just shut up and dribble. Okay, now I'm not saying that this white woman on Fox was right to say what she said and whatever else went with it. I'm not saying I agree with the statement. I'm just explaining to you where the statement came from and why this more than an athlete hashtag came out right after that. What I'm saying is, when you're producing results in an area outside of, let's say, if you are more than just a basketball player, then you ain't got to say it. Michael Jordan was more than a basketball player. Michael Jordan is according to what I've read, a billionaire, and he makes way more money off the court these days and hasn't played in 20 years than he made when he was on the court. More than anybody makes on the court these days. Does Michael Jordan need to announce it? No. Why? We already know. That's the point. See, the few people out there who have more than one skill, or you have other skills outside of whatever it is you do professionally, whatever it is you draw your checks from and pay your bills with, if you just do those things, it will be self-evident. Just think about that. Bill Gates. Now, what's Bill Gates do? He does several things. He started Microsoft Corporation. His goal was to put a computer in every home. He achieved it. There is a computer in every home. They may not be his computers, but his goal was to get everybody on this computer thing. He wanted to make computers ubiquitous. Does everybody have a computer? Yes. And in case you didn't know, your smartphone is a computer. All right, everybody has a computer in their homes. Now, Bill Gates doesn't even run his company day to day anymore. When we hear Bill Gates' name nowadays, what is he doing? He's fighting malaria. He's trying to get water everywhere in the world. He's fighting against diseases. He's giving a lot of money to charitable causes. Bill Gates is a lot more than an entrepreneur. Can we agree? Yes. Now, does Bill Gates have a more than an entrepreneur hashtag? Is Bill Gates running around with t-shirts? No. Now, at the same time, nobody ever told Bill Gates, hey, shut up and code. But at the same time, he doesn't need to announce it. Why? Because he is producing results. When I mentioned Bill Gates' name, some of you thought of computers, but a lot of you thought of, oh, that's the guy in the documentary who's trying to get water to everybody in Africa. You don't even know about the computers. You don't even know about the fact that he used to battle Steve Jobs and Apple for computer supremacy amongst personal computing devices. Some of you don't even know about that. You only know about the other part of Bill Gates' life, and he don't have to announce it to you. Why? Because it's obvious, because he is producing results, and you don't have to be famous like Bill Gates. If you're just doing the thing, you don't have to say it. This is the whole goes. We're still on the point. The topic here today, in case you forgot, is the art of drawing attention. The art of letting people know that you do more than one thing is just doing the other thing. If you just do it, then you don't have to say anything. Point number 3. Today's topic is the art of drawing attention. Here's the key to everything I'm talking about here today. You got to make your science look and feel like art. So just remember that this is the Work on Your Game podcast. So I'm not telling you to just naturally let it be on your game, because that doesn't work. You got to put some time in. You got to put some effort in, some energy, some focus, probably some money behind what you want to be good at. If you want to have game at something, you got to put some work in. So you got to work hard. There is some science to your work. All right. That means there's a process, there's a plan that you're following, there's a strategy that you're following. But you want to make that process, plan, and strategy, that science, make it look and feel like art. I'm letting that sink in there. I'm giving you a moment for that to just sink in for you. When you are really good at what you do, one of the things that will be expected of you when you're a professional is to make it look easy. Make it look like you're not trying hard. Make it look like art, even though there's a whole lot of science behind it. Masterclass number 931. Here's the topic. What is expected when professional is next to your name? If you have not listened to that masterclass, or maybe you did, but you don't remember anything that I said, but you probably don't, go listen to it again. Masterclass number 931. What is expected when professional, quote unquote, is next to your name? One of the things that's expected when you're a professional is not only do you have to achieve the outcome, but you got to make your achievements look easy. You got to make it look like you're not trying hard. I told this story. I was playing basketball in Germany. An agent came and watched me practice with a team, and I thought I did really well in practice. But when I spoke to the agent after the practice, he said, well, Dre, we weren't very impressed with your performance. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? And he said, yeah, you were scoring, but you were dribbling. You had to dribble too many times to score. Yeah, you were making good plays, but it looked like you were trying too hard. He literally said this to me. This is not embellished. And then his assistant, who was in the conversation, he said, yeah, you being an American, Dre, you got to make it look easy. All right, yeah, you got to score, and you did score, but you got to score, and you got to make your scoring look easy. You can't make it look like you're trying hard. And I said, okay, I got it. Next time they watch me, I just shot the ball every single time. I think they were a little bit more impressed. But hey, that's just the game. I'm not saying that's what you should do, but that was the game at the time. The whole point of everything I'm saying here, again, make your science look and feel like art. This takes practice. All right, it takes practice to make it look like you're not practicing. It takes practice to make it look like it's effortless. All right, that is the paradox of this, okay? Number one method for performing effortlessly is to prepare tirelessly. You should write that down. Put this on if you're a school teacher, put this on the blackboard. If you're a coach, write this on the whiteboard. If you have a text chain of people who you mentor, send this to them. And make sure you credit me at least the first time you use it. Let me say it again. The number one method for performing effortlessly is to prepare tirelessly. And here's the paradox. Working really hard behind the scenes makes your work in front of the scenes look like you don't work hard at all. Working really hard behind the scenes makes your work in front of the scenes look like you don't work hard at all. It makes it look easy. It makes it look like you woke up like this, like Beyonce. People who do things and make it look easy, they afford themselves that luxury based on what they do when you're not looking. So anyone you see out there who's a professional at what they do and they make it look really easy, 98% of the time, we'll say. 2%, there are people who are just so talented that it actually is easy and they don't even have to work hard. 2%. All right, let's just assume that you're not in the 2%. Okay, I want to make sure that you cover your bases and assume that you're not in the 2%. And if you happen to be that good where you can make it look where you don't even have to work hard, but you actually do work hard, then you'll become spectacular. You'll become a legend. Okay? But the people who make it look easy afford themselves the ability to make it look easy based on what they do when you are not looking at all. They are working hard, you just don't know about it. Okay? See all my episodes on preparation and professionalism. How to treat your desired career or business like a profession before it becomes one. That's masterclass number 913. If you want to become a professional athlete, listen to masterclass number 755. The principles are all covered right there. Masterclass number 619, professionals. You know one thing professionals don't need? They don't need motivation. That's masterclass number 619. Masterclass number 1419. It takes more than skill to become and to remain a professional. Masterclass number 1398. Top reasons why good basketball players fail to make it as professional basketball players. Masterclass number 1336. How to play the long game like a true professional. I'll give you one more because I got too many of these about professionalism. Masterclass number 1310. How to professionalize your business. All of these are masterclasses you should be taking in when it comes to the topic of professionalism. When it comes to preparation, masterclass number 1003. How to prepare yourself to play off of instinct to where you can stop overthinking your performance. Masterclass number 567. If you are not over-prepared, you are under-prepared. Masterclass number 561. Things will not go as planned. Let me tell you how to prepare mentally for the fact that things will not go how you expect them to go. And I'll give you one more. Masterclass number 429. The key to lost opportunity is showing up unprepared. All right. So if you weren't sure if the content vault of this show was deep enough, I think I've given you enough. I only just named to you maybe 10 masterclasses. We got 1,500 in here. So imagine what I didn't tell you about. Now, all that being said, let's recap today's topic, which is the art of drawing attention. Thought of this again after watching the Michael Jordan docu-series. I wanted to see a little bit more of just Jordan himself and not all the other guys. I didn't really care about them. I just wanted to see Michael Jordan. But today is about attention, drawing attention the right way, which Michael Jordan was able to do, not because Michael Jordan is just this god, and some people may call him that, but because Michael Jordan worked so hard when you weren't looking that he made it look like he never worked hard at all when you were looking. Point number one. There's a difference between drawing attention to yourself and trying to draw attention to yourself. Drawing attention is an art. Subtle, naturally, you're doing it, but nobody notices you're doing it until well after it's done or until you just tell them that you did it. Same thing with a well-designed sales pitch. You don't feel like you're being sold, but you buy stuff. Trying to draw attention, on the other hand, is a science. It's methodical, obvious, and sometimes clumsy. Some people draw attention just by being who they are, even when it's calculated. Other people want attention, but they are not natural at it at all, so they have to try, and that makes everything awkward. Point number two, the best way to draw attention to yourself is to produce results. Nike came out with a shirt that said more than an athlete. Listen, I know a lot of athletes who shouldn't be wearing that shirt because they're not more than an athlete. All they are athletes. And there's nothing wrong with just being an athlete. I heard it pays well. Bill Gates doesn't have a t-shirt that says more than an entrepreneur. He doesn't have to tell you that. Why? Because he is doing it. When you're doing it, you ain't got to announce it. And point number three, here's the key. Make your science look and feel like art. This takes practice. Number one method for performing effortlessly is to prepare tirelessly. The paradox of this is you must work really hard behind the scenes to make your work in front of the scenes look like you don't work hard at all. People who do things and make it look easy have afforded themselves that luxury based on what they do when you are not paying attention. See my episodes on preparation and professionalism that are already listed out here for you. Also in the Game Group member portal, I have a list of every masterclass that has ever come out on this show. Consult that list. Take advantage of the value that has been dropped here. Don't miss anything and work on your game. Dre all day.